I was waiting for so long to hopefully pull a 7-star Enchantress for my Necropolis Gods tag run. Never happened, so I saved that one for last, and we're just going to use the 6-star for it, which is fine, because she's still really, really good for this content. As you're going to see in these 3 straight Necro fights that I soloed with her, which I was actually not expecting to solo. I expected to solo Airwalker. I didn't expect Captain Britain and Wiccan to go as well as they did. So, we're going to start with Airwalker here. Main gimmick for this fight is to knock him down as often as possible so that he is not able to gain his power cosmic buff, which is going to happen after like 15 or 20 seconds of not being knocked down. And Enchantress is very good at knocking down the opponent when she's spamming a special one at like every 1 or 2 combos, right? So, basically, in this fight, you want to activate your charm spells, and then eventually I'm going to start activating my nullify spell and all my other buff control spells once I'm a bit more ramped for that. And then once I have about 6 of each spell, then we just spam SP2 for the rest of the fight. A little bit before that, I'm going to be throwing a couple SP2s just to start reactivating some of my buff control effects, because those are definitely important. However, I really don't need them too much early. I just need to manage his power gain as well as I can. And once the charm is active, it's going to affect the power gain from Airwalker if he triggered his power cosmic with the charm active. Because it was at the start of the fight, that's not the case, because charm is only going to hit the power gain when it is applied when the charm is active. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it works. We'll have to see later in the clip. But with Enchantress, I like to go for all my buff control spells first, and especially charm. So the buff control spells are the purple ones. And then for the green spells, you want to do 1 of each. And then once you have 1 of each, it doesn't really matter which green spell you go for. And then my third one, I always do Fireball for the orange spells, because it's the most damaging of the 3. So, anyway, we have a lot of sustainability with the green spells. Those are what those are meant to do. One of them is going to regen energy damage, one of them is going to regen block damage, and then they have secondary effects such as giving you a chance to miss, giving you the ability to evade knockdowns, and giving you unstoppable on your dash attack. There's just so much safety once you get Enchantress ramped. It's really, really good, and it makes her super good for this type of content. So, drop another SP2 there, start reactivating my effects, and then I'm going to go back to ramping up spells. Enchantress's SP2 gains attack rating based on the amount of spells you have active, up to 12. So once we get 12, that's the maximum damage that the hits on the SP2 are going to do. However, we're going to go above 12 because it still reactivates all of the effects. So, say I have 4 orange spells, then I'm going to have like max damage on the SP2 if I went for 4, 4, and 4. However, if I go 6, 6, and 6, the SP2 is not going to be doing more damage. However, I will be reactivating all of the spells still, so I'll have 6 incinerates, which is still going to do more damage. So even though the attack rating is capped, it's still worth it to go for even more spells, because you're still going to be stacking more incinerates from the orange spells, right? So once I get to 6, 6, and 6, then we're just going to spam SP2s all the way out. But until then, we just want to keep Airwalker under control. Blocking his special attacks is really helpful, because then you're not going to gain any of the Dark Tide. The Dark Tide is how you really start taking damage on this attack, and the evade knockdowns does get in the way of that. However, once we start spamming SP2s, we're going to be regenning so much that it almost doesn't even matter. And then once the power cosmic goes away via the nullify spell, then we're not even going to be able to get Dark Tide on us, which is going to, make things a lot easier, right? So, there we go, it's nullified now. You're going to see once he drops his special attack, assuming he doesn't have the Dark Tide active, then we don't get, or at least something happens. Hold on, let me see what happens here. No power cosmic, but then it's back. Okay, so we do actually get Dark Tide. So there it's nullified, and we did get Dark Tide. Maybe it's less so if you don't have power cosmic. And I know there's ways you can remove Dark Tide too. I don't remember exactly all the ways it works, because I just don't remember how Airwalker's kit works. And it also looks like for this fight, I'm only going for 5, 5, and 5 on my spell count, which is fine, because Enchantress is going to be able to control this fight just fine with only 5, especially since we have class advantage. But I do know for certain that for Britain and Wiccan, we go for 6, 6, and 6 on the spells. So he is in the phase where we're going to be rooted during specials now. That's okay. We're still going to evade the knockdowns like that. And we are just regenning so much via all of her green spells and her SB2, which regens if you have a bunch of green spells. So anyway, we're just super sustainable for this fight, and even though we have so little health, we're going to be able to solo the fight. And I'm going to stop talking until we get back to the Captain Britain fight, where we're going to talk about a little bit of a different strategy, and you can see the fight play out from here. So see you in the Britain fight. Alright, next up we have the Captain Britain fight, which I was actually worried for originally because of the fact that the exhaustions were going to be mitigating my crit damage on the SB2 by a lot, and it does. It really does mitigate a lot of the damage on the SB2. However, what you still have is the red damage from the incinerates that you're going to be inflicting every single SB2 still. And the red damage obviously is not going to be hindered by the exhaustions at all. So it was allowing me to do a bunch of damage on the SB2. And another really good thing about this fight is Captain Britain has a lot of buffs, and Enchantress, when she has access to Mystic Dispersion, just pops off and can spam so many more SB2s than normal. Because Mystic Dispersion is going to give you more power to get more access to SB2s, but also you're nullifying buffs extremely consistently, and your charm is increasing the power gain you're getting from Mystic Dispersion. So if you have Mystic Dispersion maxed out, it's like 12% max power. With Enchantress's charm, that goes even higher. I don't know exactly the math on it, but it is really, really potent. So really love that mechanic for sure. And another thing in this fight is that Enchantress can go inverted controls immune when she has the haste spell up. So once we're spamming SP2s, keep reactivating all the green spells, you're gonna get that haste spell back up all the time. Haste is where you swipe right, by the way. Enchantress obviously has a lot of different spells with a lot of different combinations for activating them, so it is a little bit difficult to understand sometimes. It just kind of takes practice, and I've been practicing Enchantress for a really, really long time because she is genuinely one of my favorite characters to release this year. So you are going to need to practice a bit of that to remember how to activate every spell, but trust me, she is worth it for these long-form contents. I know a lot of people saying she sucks for even long-form content. I totally disagree. I think this champion can do so much for long-form content, and these 3 solos really just proves it, in my opinion. So, We have 3 of each spell now. I might go for a reactivation on the SP2, or I might just start spamming more SP1s. Looks like I'm going for a reactivation. I might have been trying to do an SP1 there, and then an accidental Mystic Dispersion triggered pushed me to another SP2. But that's okay, because we get the reactivation of all of our effects, which is just really, really strong, obviously. So, go for Dispel, just reactivate my Nullify, and then I just throw a Haste active, so get the Inverted Controls immunity, the Unstoppable on the dash, all that fun stuff. And now I just need Britain to drop her special. She's going to gain a Cruelty, which is going to Nullify, give me more power, all that fun stuff. And then I'm going to go for a Fireball, probably go for an SP2 right after, drop the Relic immediately, and then we are going to start going for more spells. So going to go for 5, 5, and 5. And then eventually 6, 6, and 6. And we are going to be inverted, that's okay. I'm pretty decent with inverted controls, not the best, but I do think I do a pretty good job with them. And then I have Haste active again, so now they're gone. I'm going to go for a Fireball here, and then place another Incinerate. And I might go for an SP2 at this point, just for the reactivation. Or I could go for another SP1, looks like that's what I'm doing, which is fair. Place the Charm, increase the potency of my Power Steal and such, Mystic Dispersion as well, even though we don't have buffs to nullify, or a way to nullify buffs without Dispel, but we're going to get the reactivation pretty soon anyway. So, Haste, Fireball, and then we're going to spam SP2, and then Britain is just going to be pretty locked down, if I do say so myself. So yeah, there's Fireball. I think staying at 6, 6, and 6 is the most worth it number. I don't think you really need to go for 7, 7, and 7. However, you could if you wanted to. There's nothing stopping you. And if you have like a 7-star Enchantress, you might just want to do 5, 5, and 5. It all just depends on how comfortable you are with the amount of spells you have. 6, 6, and 6 is what I found to be the most successful. However, it's really up to you, right? So the SP2s do decent damage, they heal me a lot, they give me a lot of safety for the fight, and we just stay without inverted controls because she's going to be immune to that, and then eventually Britain's going to go down. And yeah, we just have a bunch of buffs to nullify, and we're just going to be throwing SP2s constantly. It's going to feel really, really great. So I'm going to stop talking here. You can see like all of Enchantress' utility in full force in this fight, and then I'm going to come back for the Wiccan fight. Final solo of this video is going to be Wiccan, which I wasn't even sure if it was going to be possible due to the amount of regen he gets, which, if you don't know, it's 7% of Wiccan's missing health, but I'm pretty sure it's 100% of energy damage taken, and every single piece of Enchantress's kit is energy damage, except maybe the SP3, because I don't think that really counts, so I was a little worried going into it. Also, just the fact that I'm going to get neutralized a lot, especially if I parry, and then I'm going to get Incinerates on me if I dex during that time. So, yeah, was a little bit worried about this, but she's going to get the job done, because she's just really, really strong. Messed up a little bit there. It's okay. Got an Incinerate on me there. It's okay. One of the spells, I believe it's Etherealness, it regens energy damage. So the Incinerate, we're going to get healing from willpower and healing from that. I probably should have gone for Etherealness there instead of Haste. Wasn't thinking about it at the time. But once we start reactivating, when I'm going to have like all the green spells and stuff, then we're going to be chilling. Levitate is the one that allows me to evade on knockdown, so if I don't know the SP2 dex for Wiccan, it's okay, because we just do that, right? And then we nullify the power efficiency. Enchantress is just so much stronger when you have buffs to nullify, specifically for the power gain from Mystic Dispersion. There's no other reason that she really needs to nullify, it's just the power gain that really helps her, which is pretty good, right? Because it's nice to have a Mystic who doesn't need buffs to be good. It just makes her, you know, spam more special 2s quicker, which is just an added benefit, right? So, when we had the Etherealness active, we're regenning a lot more of the Incinerates than normal, which is really awesome. You can see me alternating between 67 and like 68% a little bit there. The regen isn't going to be able to cover the entire Incinerate because it's only 30% of the energy damage, and then I believe 60% when you reactivate it, because everything doubles in potency, and then your willpower is cut in half. So there's going to be a fraction of that Incinerate that you're still going to be taking, but with the regen from the SP2 itself, based off of having green spells maxed out, or the highest spell count being green spells, then you're still going to be regenning a lot that way, and then you have regen from the neutralize itself, right? So, I obviously wouldn't intentionally try to get a lot of Incinerates on you, because they're still going to hurt you a little bit. Even having 2 on me just doesn't feel good. But once we get our spells going anyway, we're going to be able to solo the fight, because we're just regenning so much. Anyway, now we have 3 Incinerates on me, and it definitely doesn't feel good. We're definitely ticking down there. But, again, it's still going to be fine. So, every time he throws a special 1, he's going to gain a regen. That's Mystic Dispersion. Every time he throws an SP2, he's going to gain a power efficiency. That's Mystic Dispersion. Really, really great there. And as long as I know my SP1 dexes, we shouldn't be in that much of a pickle at all, especially once we're rooted. We're going to be close to him, meaning Dispel is going to be triggering a lot more. And yeah, that's Wiccan. Again, I wasn't expecting this fight to be soloable because of the regen that you're still going to get. You have ways of preventing it via the neutralize if you wanted to, but I'm pretty sure I intentionally didn't do that because I wanted the Mystic Dispersion. You can shorten it with Wilt, which is a 60% atrophy. When you reactivate it with the SP2, you can reduce the potency of the regen via Despair, because Enchantress is going to be placing like 7 debuffs on the SP2 if you have 6, 6, and 6 of your spell count. So, there's a lot of ways to control this Wiccan, a lot more than I originally anticipated. There I should have went for Etherealness instead of Levitate, but I just kind of like spamming up, up, up when I'm going for a random green spell. It didn't really matter that much, so nullify that regen there, go for a few more spells, Fireball now, and then I'm just going to go for either Charm or Dispel, and then Etherealness, hopefully. I might just go for another Haste, though. Or I'm going to go for a Reactivation and then go for a little more spells, which is also fair. So yeah, Reactivation there. place more incinerates, do some nice crits on the SP2 as well, dash in, and then I'm going to go for Dispel here, or Charm. The Charm also works, never mind, I thought I did something different. Stand up intercept with my light attack there, which is pretty nice. And then I'm probably going to go for Levitate here. Again, should be doing Etherealness in hindsight, but it's not that big a deal. So, dash in just to get closer to him when we want to nullify. And then one more spell just with the Fireball, and then it's SP2s all the way out. So, I'm going to stop talking here because I am tired. I'm not even feeling the best right now. But my entire Necropolis run with the Korean challenges are all done. I'm going to be getting videos out as soon as I can. It's just really busy with the Christmas season, so I've got some family coming in. It's just going to take me a little bit of time, so do bear with me on that. But yeah, I wanted to get this one out as fast as possible, and I'm hoping to upload the rest of the Necro content whenever I get the chance. Definitely high on my mind right now. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.